Now let's move on to the NASD OTC, which is our focus on the show this evening. Now, in continuing its effort to deepen the reach and impact of the capital market in the real economy, NASD OTC this week embarks on an investment readiness series in collaboration with the Entrepreneurship Development Center, a subdivision of the Lagos Business School. The initiative is a way to galvanize interest for the NASD Enterprise Portal, and it says further that it aligns with the ERGP. Joining us now for more details on this initiative is the exponent of this program, himself, Mr. Bola Ajomale. Thanks again for coming on board this evening. We appreciate your presence on Capital Market always.
Thank you very much.
So this week you had an engagement with a lot of entrepreneurs. How many of them did you have?
We had about 100 entrepreneurs in the room,
okay,
for this particular one. Actually, this is the second in a series of what we've been running. The first one we ran with Fate Foundation, and we had their alumni to speak with as well. So what we're doing is we're going around, we're going around different hubs, different incubator groups, and we're speaking to their alumni.
Are there prospects now? Are there prospects?
Absolutely. Every single company that wants to grow, that is looking for growth capital, tends to have to go to a bank to borrow. At 23%, it doesn't really support that much growth. If they are lucky enough to access funds from, say, the LS ETF, then that's a certain amount, but it's capped. So what we are doing is we're making it available, we're making the capital market available to them early, so that that way they don't start off with debt and then get stuck. And at the same time, they get used to the discipline of the capital market. So it's basically a catch them young kind of initiative.
So what has changed since the approval you got from SEC late last year and now the first quarter of 2018?
So the approval came in November, late last year, and what we have is we have signed up 4 of the incubators. We've signed up EDC, which we were working with last week. We've signed up Fate Foundation. We've signed up the Bank of Industry and another Antonio Lumina Foundation as well. And they have been bringing in, they are poised to bring in their alumni, fitting enterprises that are in the growth mode. That are prepared to go through the disciplines of the capital markets, prepared to report their financials on a regular basis, put corporate governance in place that suits the requirements of the market. We've been positioning those ones. We've also positioned due diligence advisors, who are the ones, capital market operators essentially, who would act as financial advisors to these companies. We have aligned a couple of investors as well, potential investors, private equity firms, who are currently looking at the country, looking at the potential of the company and of the country, and looking for investment opportunities. We also have partnered with the NIPC in order to supply them with information about what's happening in the economy. So essentially we've aligned it to the ERGP essentially because they have got focus labs, which are looking at making it easier for enterprises, for projects to get funding, and so they actually run together. So it's all coming into play, it's all coming into shape. The official launch we're doing in April, but in the meantime, we're getting the parties engaged and onboarded.
So who are your targets precisely?
Okay, well, some people have said it's an SME portal, and we've said, well, it's an enterprise portal. So the targets really are any sized company in any industry that is seeking to move closer to the capital market, to the public capital market. This essentially is like a private capital market, so it's got a very limited number of players in it. It is open to all enterprises that want to reveal information about themselves, and it's a first step really. So any enterprise that has run for maybe 3 or 4 years, that has established certain procedures, established a certain market, and now wants to take the quantum leap forward, that's definitely an eligible company to come into this portal. And
so what are the requirements that you're looking at? Must the company or establishment have so number of staff? Must it have so number, amount of money, XYZ in the bank and all that?
Well, if you are approaching any investor, or any financier, the very first thing you must prepare to do is be transparent, to have some history, and to be able to talk about your vision and talk about your plans very clearly so that the potential investor can see what you're doing. That's the major requirement. You should be able to project your business and back up, say things that are truthful about your business to the extent that the potential investor can see it and agree with you that this is the way forward. Once you can do that and you are very convincing about it and you have got the facts and the figures to back it up, then you're eligible to come in. So we don't restrict it by a certain size or a certain industry or location or anything of the sort. Again, it started off as an information repository. So really, its first purpose is to gather information on what is happening and what is available in our economy.
We have to go for a break. After this break, you'll tell us if I have to pay for that repository information and the kind of structure that the enterprise should be looking out for at NASD, NASDEP, as the initiative is called. We'll be back after this short break.